the important thing to realize is that when what is causes you to feel a certain way, so when you feel fat, you can't become slender. You have to find a way of feeling the way you want to be even before you are. And that's a tricky thing, because how you are is so in your face. So it's a matter of just leaning a little more, leaning a little more, leaning a little more toward what you're wanting. The way we want to say it in easy to hear terms, easy to hear, it takes a little more practice to really know it. You have to start telling a different story. You have to begin telling the story differently. And so many of you are stuck in this. It's like you think that somebody shot you with truth serum the day you were born, and if you don't tell things exactly the way they are, then the world will crash down upon you. And so you just keep telling it like it is, 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 complaining about how it is, complaining about how it is, keeping how it is active in your vibration, and things can't change under those conditions. You got to tell a different story. And so the most important thing that we want to say is you have to make peace with where you are. And so just feel this. This is really going to help you on all topics, but especially this one. So you are where you are. Isn't that profound? I am where I am. Write that down. I am where I am. But does it matter where you are? Now think about it in terms of what we've been talking about all day here today. Does it matter where you are if the stream is moving toward where you want to be? Does it matter where you are? Does it matter? Does it matter if you put your boat in here, if the stream is moving to where you want to be? Does it really matter where you are? It doesn't matter where you're putting your boat in, but if you are upset about where you are, now you're fighting the current and you're not letting yourself go. If you are all right with where you are, where I am is where I am. And it's all right where I am, and there's no wrongdoing here. I'm all right where I am. It's okay where I am is where I am, and it's enough. Where I am is enough. It's got to be enough because you can't do anything about it. I am where I am, and it's enough. That's the mantra that you want to offer. I am where I am, and it's enough, and it's got to be enough because I am where I am, and it's enough. And it is enough because I am where I am, and the stream is moving, so it is enough. It's all right where I am. When you make peace with where you are, you turn downstream easily. When you don't make peace with where you are, you're upstream. And most people who are experiencing what your mate is experiencing are upstream, 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 because they're not just factoring in their own vibrational stream, they're factoring in how everybody else thinks about them. In other words, everyone who looks at them, they contemplate what that person is thinking. So it's upstream, upstream, upstream. You got to leave everybody else out of the equation, and you have to only be aware of where you are in relationship to where you want to be. And as that is your dominant intent, it just gets easier and easier. We talked about this earlier, that as you travel, as Jerry and Esther travel from Phoenix to San Diego, they never get confused. It's straightforward. They know, head west, 400 miles, keep going, you're going to get there. So they don't get frustrated and lose their way because that journey is easy to understand. But the journey between weighing more than you want to and weighing what you want to, in other words, losing 200 or 300 pounds or 100 pounds or 50 pounds, that's very often a journey that people don't know how to quantify because there are so many different people that are saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And as you make effort through your action and you get some results, but then you don't make the vibrational shift so the results don't last, and then you make another effort, but you're bucking the current so it is hard to do, in time you just get worn out over it, sort of defeated, and as you said, lost in the process. Where when you understand, we visited with a woman one day. This is such a good story. She said, Abraham, I have pain in my body. I have arthritis in my hips, and I'm in pain all the time. How can I feel good, as you say? How can I have positive emotion when I'm experiencing so much pain? And we said, you have to understand that you've got two different things going on. You've got the manifestation of what you've been thinking going on. In other words, what is what is. But then you have your emotional response also. And if your emotional response is pointed upstream, you can't improve. You can't close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Where if your emotional response is downstream, now you're closing the gap. We said the difference between having pain and feeling fear and having pain and feeling hope is a difference between recovery or not. So the point that we're making is, And when we say we want you to find a way of quantifying your journey, we want you to understand that good is closing the gap, a feeling of good is closing the gap, and a feeling that doesn't feel good is widening the gap. Kate is 5, Jerry Nestor's granddaughter. And when they play with her, which they often do, Kate brings a little car. And she loves to hide it somewhere in the room or in the garden. And she hides it, and then she gives them clues. Jerry Nestor didn't see her hide it. But Kate will say, "You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. Oh, that's colder. That's colder. Colder." So then Jerry Nestor turn. "You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. Hot, hot. You're getting hot, hot." And they find it every time. And the reason they find it is because Kate knows where it is. And she's giving them clues. And we want you to know the source within you knows where it is and is giving you clues. And it's the same kind of clues. Negative emotion, you're getting colder, you're getting colder, you're getting colder. Positive emotion, you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer, you're getting warmer, you're getting hot, 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 and then it manifests, you see. And so you have to make your journeys emotional journeys. Never mind what is. 99.99% of every creation is completed vibrationally before you see the evidence. So what happens? We see people, someone really, really sick, wanting so much to be well, and Source is calling them toward wellness, and now they're beginning to get a feeling of hope. And they're moving on their way. They see no manifestation, so if they go to the doctor, they still get the same test results, but vibrationally they're moving. There's still no manifestational evidence, but they're moving toward it. But if they stop and take score, and then they see that the tests are still telling them that they're sick, most of them turn right upstream because they haven't quantified their journey. They don't know that the improved feeling means they're moving in the right direction. And so they move toward it, they move back, they move toward it. Phoenix Yuma, 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 Phoenix Yuma. And then they say, "This is too hard." And we say, "It's not hard. You're just going about it wrong. You're going about it with action and with words instead of with vibration and emotion." If you care about how you feel and you will guide your thoughts toward that which feels better, you will get to where you want to be every single time. But it isn't easy to let go of the way you have been thinking. And that's the difference. You've got to start seeing yourselves differently. You have to start seeing yourselves differently. And when you try to make too big of a jump, you never do. So just make incremental jumps. Make peace with where you are. Make peace with where you are. Appreciate your magnificent body as it is. Appreciate that it moves, that it is flexible, that it digests, that it assimilates. Accept the cellular metabolism, the cellular functioning. Your body is a veritable chemical factory. It is an amazing mechanism. It is morphing constantly into that which is new. It is constantly becoming. It will be whatever you ask it to be. It will be whatever you ask it and allow it to be. It will be whatever you want it and allow it to be. It will be whatever you ask if you will allow it. It will be whatever you see it to be. It will be whatever you expect it to be. It will be what you expect it to be. And most of you can't expect past what is. That's your limitation. You find it hard to expect past what is. And we say, you got to stretch that expectation by listening, by feeling for it. And when you start feeling, oh, if you could feel what Source expects for you. And that's why so often you feel such strong negative emotion. That's that fear and inadequacy that you were describing earlier. When you look at yourself so differently than the way Source looks at you, when you don't expect good things from you, because Source is expecting such wonderful things from you, there's a cross current going on. When you expect things to go wrong with your children and Source expects things to go well with your children, there's a cross current going on. When you expect the economy to collapse and the Source within you expects it to cycle like it always does and rebound and recover and be stronger than ever, you're cross current with your vibration, you see. You have to see it as you want it to be. Never mind what is. What is does not mean diddly squat. What is doesn't matter. It's just a point in time, a momentary manifestational indicator of how you've been thinking. Think differently and it will shift. It will morph with your thoughts every single time. But start with easy things. Don't start with the thing that you've been dragging around forever and not having success with. Start with easy things. Show yourself how accommodating the universe is. Pick something that you haven't thought that much about, so you haven't been beating a negative drum about it. Pick something and think about it and contemplate it and watch how fast the universe brings it to you. We were doing a telephone consultation some years ago when Jerry and Esther had time to do that, and they were in La Jolla, and the woman was very much not having a good time. She wanted her fortune told, and we weren't doing it. We wanted her to create her own reality. She didn't want any of that. So we said, well, let us just leave you with some thoughts. Why not let the universe show you how powerful you are? Let's talk about some things that you don't usually think that much about, and some things that you don't think about with any resistance within them. Like what, she said. Well, like blue glass, we said. Why would I want to talk about blue glass? Well, let's just talk about blue glass. How many different colors of blue they are. Some you can see through, some you can't. Let's talk about blue glass. She wasn't having any of it. We said, let's talk about butterflies. Why would I want to talk about butterflies? Because they're beautiful. They come in all sizes and shapes and colors. She wasn't having any of that. Let's talk about feathers. Why would I want to talk about feathers? Well, because there's so many different feathers, and because you don't have much resistance about feathers. And then she hung up, and Esther said she's probably going to ask for her money back, and we'll be happy to give it to her because she certainly did not get what she was looking for here. And then Jerry and Esther went off to La Jolla for lunch. And as they parked in front of the Valencia, Esther got out of the car and immediately felt a strong compulsion to go into a shop that was right there. And it's a shop they'd been in many times. There wasn't anything in there that they wanted, and Jerry wanted to go to lunch, and he went to lunch, and Esther peeled off into the shop, and he looked back and followed her in, and she's going far into the shop, and on the back wall, Esther finds the most beautiful wall of blue glass that must exist anywhere on the planet. It was ceiling to floor, wall to wall, every color and texture of blue glass imaginable. And it wasn't anything that they wanted, and Esther did not make the correlation between the blue glass and the conversation that we had just had. And so Jerry dragged her off to lunch, and they had a lovely lunch at George's, and then they went to the Cove, which is just a very short walk from where they had lunch. And as they were walking across this expanse of grass, a flurry of butterflies surrounded them so intense that they had to stop talking to not eat them. And still, Esther is not making any association. And then, just as the butterflies were clearing, Esther sees a little boy. He looked to be 3 or 4 years old, Oriental boy, and he is running toward Esther. It feels like he's coming to her, even though Esther is certain she does not know him. And as he gets closer, she realized he's holding something in his hand to give her, and it is a pigeon's feather. And in that moment, Esther realized that all we had done is lightly activate those 3 subjects in a being, Esther, who had no resistance to them. And within a couple of hours, the universe had yielded all of them to her. That's how powerful this law of attraction is. What's ever active within you, everything that you are living is the equivalent of the vibration of the balance of your thoughts, you see, over which you have complete control. So if you want to control your experience, you have only to control your thoughts. But controlling thoughts is a very difficult thing because there are so many of them, it will drive you crazy. But if you will have a quest for a feeling, if just a quest for warmer, 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 downstream, downstream, downstream. Just develop an appetite for the better feeling thoughts. Not the best feeling thought you've ever felt and thought, but the best thought you can find from where you are. Just make an effort to make the best of things. Talk things into a better feeling place. Have you ever known someone who has a problem and you try to soothe them and they pull it back? And you try to soothe them and they pull it back? And you try to soothe them and they pull it back? What you're wanting to do is the opposite of that. You're wanting to be one that pulls it downstream deliberately, that just tries to make it a little better, tries to line up a little more with who you really are. And when that becomes your nature, imagine what it would be like if you were reaching for a better feeling thought and reaching for a better feeling thought and reaching for a better feeling thought and reaching for a better feeling thought on the myriad of subjects that present themselves to you on a daily basis. If you are consistently, even 20% of the time, reaching for a better feeling thought, you're improving your vibration. And as you improve your vibration, everything that touches you improves too. It's so much fun to be deliberate about thought. And we don't know of a better way to do it than to care about how you feel. And many of you have given up on that a long time ago. You've given up on how you feel. And that's what you were demonstrating here in this conversation. Funny, we say to people, if you'll reach for a better feeling thought, and they'll say, yeah, but what will that get me? Will that give me the lottery winning ticket? Will my lover come today? And we say, no, probably not. And they say, then why should I do it? We say, because you're going to feel better. Yeah, but will I get what I want? Well, not immediately. Then why should I do it? Because you'll feel better. Yeah, but isn't there a better reason? As if feeling better doesn't amount to anything with so many of you, because you have acclimated to not feeling good, and so feeling not good, you've sort of been putting up with it. But the very picky source within you does not put up with any negative thoughts, and that is in fact why you feel so bad when you find one. Do you know that negative emotion means you're thinking a thought in a way that the source within you will not think it, which means your source energy will not join you in that thought? Doesn't that tell you something? The source within you won't go there. You're holding yourself out there on the raw and ragged edge. Don't you think you want to go with the direction of thoughts that the source within you is thinking? Well, that's the best sales job we've done lately. Good.